You're listening to Biz-Souls, the business podcast with an edge, hosted by me, Rona Lewis, and Jeffrey Hansler. Tune in for perspectives and discoveries about the changing world of business. It's time to connect to the heart, soul, and humor of how business gets done.
Leave that out. I'll do a sponge thing.
You don't do a sponge thing.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
No. 5, 4, 3.
Windex? Hi, everyone. Welcome to Biz-Souls. I'm Rona Lewis.
I'm Jeffrey Hansler. If you see me roll my eyes, it's because Rona is talking about something she didn't know anything about.
Nothing.
We're talking about cleaning the clapboard, and she goes, Windex? Oh, my God.
I know, because I said, I don't know, can we clean it a little bit? Can we get? And he goes,
It's gotten
you
messy.
don't wash it off.
Yeah,
I said, Windex? No.
Right. So what you have to do is you
You
actually...
stupid bitch. You don't know anything. That's
I did not say that.
That was his
oh,
tone.
my God.
That was his own chain, you ignorant slut.
I wasn't thinking that. I was just,
Yes, you were.
I was just annoyed because it was just another thing. It was like Rona trying to open the closet this morning. She was up. She had a late flight. The flight was delayed. She got home late. She'd been working hard for 3 days. She was exhausted, and then she drove down here.
I'm exhausted.
She's superhuman, except her brain is not really here. So I've got...
That's why I'm wearing a hat to
I've
hold
got
it in.
barn door, closet door, and she tried to open them. She tried to open it, both of them, and they're just... Two wings come flying
Did not
out.
work. Where am I?
Okay. So anyway, we're on to a subject.
Cognitive dissonance. You wanted to talk about cognitive dissonance.
Cognitive dissonance. Yes, I did. And I want to talk about the impact of cognitive dissonance. So Rona,
Explain to the people what it is, even though I have it up on
No,
on
I'd
Google.
like you to explain because since this is
Since
my
I
subject.
have it up, right. Cognitive dissonance, proposed by Leon Festinger in 1957, is the psychological discomfort felt when holding two conflicting beliefs or when behaviors clash with values. It causes mental stress, anxiety, or guilt, leading people to change their actions, justify their beliefs, or ignore conflicting information to restore harmony. Kind of like when someone says that, oh yeah, I'm open to dating more than one person, and they're really not. That's cognitive dissonance, right? Isn't that a good example?
It could be. It could be.
Because if they hold the beliefs and their values of, I really only, I want to be monogamous, I believe in monogamy, I want someone to love me for me, and the other person is like, I want to be free and clear, I want to date who I want to sleep with who I want, and that other person is like, okay, I'll go along with it because I don't want to lose you.
Yeah, that would. Well, and that's what I want to talk about, the implication, not talk about that subject necessarily, the implication of it. So with social media right now, everybody's able to express their opinions. And we're not talking about whether it's true or not true. We're just talking about the impact of that opinion on people. So people have a belief system, they have a thought process, they have information, and then the brain is designed for consistency. It likes consistency. It actually insists on consistency. Mm-hmm. And cognitive dissonance, as it explains, is when information comes in that doesn't match that.
Okay.
And what the brain does is it will either ignore the information or it'll justify its actions so it's consistent with what it feels its current driving force is, if you will. And that's the big problem now. So what happens is, from a business standpoint, when I go in to do sales training, mm-hmm. One of the things I tell people is, if you're going to do new actions, if you're going to change the way you sell, then you have to be willing to give up your successes as well as your failures, because that is the way the brain processes it. The brain doesn't see, I'll incorporate some of the new stuff. If it can incorporate the new stuff, if they're connected, except if you're telling somebody to do something completely different than the way they've done it before. Like, for example, somebody that chases business and takes maybes all day long. They'll, the saying in sales is there's a yes, there's a no, and a maybe. And the one that kills you is a maybe because it eats your time.
Right.
And a lot of people never get over that. They will take the maybes. They're all their hope, endless hope that they're going to get the sale, and they go in there. So that person is spending a lot of time doing it, and they may get sales coming in. They're not driving the sales process. They're not bringing in new business. They're getting the business that stepped in front of them. And so if you tell them what you're doing, these things that you're doing to accept the maybes and set another appointment and follow up and do all these things with them that you're promising to do, they're killing you. You need to stop that. And then you show them what to do. If they can't get that thought out of their head and they can't let the successes, the quote unquote successes they had with that, they'll never be able to adopt the new behaviors.
And that's that's all based in fear, because what's worse, and I'm asking this because this has worked before and I'm relying on it to work again.
Right. And if all things are equal, gain versus the joy of gain versus the fear of loss, if they were technically equal, fear of loss is never equal. It will outshine. So it's like a 3-to-1. You have to see the gain far exceeding the fear of the loss, and they can't see that because they don't believe in the gain coming through.
Well, because they haven't experienced it yet. So how can they believe in it? It takes faith, and trust me, if it were me, I would never trust you. Then
it takes faith. That's very, very good. It does take faith to do it, which is why, and this is what's really interesting. The people that do best with any sort of training.
Yeah.
So if you're teaching them to change their communication style, you're teaching them to be emotionally intelligent, you're teaching them to be a leader, the ones that do best from new information and the ones that turn it into knowledge are the ones that have their back on the wall. In sales, it's you're going to get fired because you're not bringing enough sales.
Oh, that makes sense. Desperation.
In leadership, it's when the entire company turns on you and they go, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Like we were just talking about Nick Matone and he was talking about Renee, and I forget Renee's.
Yeah, me too. But he was
the chef.
He had a Michelin starred chef in the Netherlands.
Yeah. So had that not gone public and somebody had said, we're going to cancel your show, we're going to cancel your support, we're going to cancel your Michelin thing, all this, then, only then would Renee be likely to change his behaviors because his back is against the wall. And that's the one area where the fear is so great of the loss that anything looks better. And desperate. And this is the process I went through. I believed I was good in sales, and I found out I wasn't. And when it was pointed out to me, I was in a situation where I'd already been given basically, you've got maybe a month and then you're out of here. And so I adopted it, and that's my personality, though. I have a tendency to jump in with both feet. Oh, this is new and shiny. Let's try this.
That is true.
So,
Drops everything else and is laser focused on the one thing at a time.
So, and this goes on with politics as well. So if somebody's on one side of the fence and somebody's on the other, and they both try and show facts to the other person why they should change and why they're wrong, all they do is they drive them to double down on their belief system.
Dig their heels in, right?
So you've got to take a completely different approach to get by that. So what you should think of cognitive dissonance, especially if you're in learning and development, what you should think of it is, this is the gatekeeper. This is the gatekeeper to their psyche. And you have to get past that gatekeeper to allow them to change. And one of the techniques, and this has been known for a while, one of the techniques to get organization change, to change culture, it's the most powerful tool for leadership, is storytelling. Because storytelling gives them a new storyline they can grab onto, and it's not directed at them. It's about somebody else, So you don't tell somebody that's struggling with dating to go back to your original thing, and say, oh, this is what you're doing wrong and doing wrong. This is where you tell them, oh, Yes, you should be Sleeping Beauty. Bite an apple, go to sleep, and when you wake up, Prince Charming will be there. And they might go, yeah, sure, let's do drugs. Anyway.
Well, and on that note, I just came back I was in Northern California working with an organization's, some of their leadership on executive speaking. And one of the first things, and a couple of them, they were willing to try. They're a little bit nervous because they didn't want to be embarrassed, and they were a little bit fearful. And I use purposeful play, which part of it is it's improv, it's storytelling to your point, and it started to bring them out. And I'm like, you just spoke in front of all these people. Yeah, I was telling a story. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. And we played this great game, Poetry for Neanderthals, where you have to describe something in one syllable, and it's about word choice and being thoughtful about words. And there are other things, and they were gobsmacked. Number one, how hard it was, and number two, how much it was connected to speaking and what they were trying to learn. So, as well, storytelling can be fun, and that's where play comes in. It just kind of, makes it all.
Well, and that's the whole idea of play, is that you help people get past themselves, past this gatekeeper. I can talk. Gatekeeper of cognitive dissonance. Now, here's something that, and this is a thought I wanted to leave on this podcast. So a lot of times, the way to get control of our subconscious is to become conscious about it.
Right.
So that whole thing of I'm unconsciously incompetent, consciously incompetent, consciously competent, unconsciously competent. That process starts with awareness,
right,
that what you're doing isn't working for you. So if you're listening and you've noticed that you reject ideas, or you're struggling accepting new information, even though the information looks good, what you do is just say, okay, cognitive dissonance, my little gatekeeper has come up. And you can give your gatekeeper a name if you want. Whatever
Ralph.
you want.
Ralph is here.
Ralph is here. Okay, that's good. Good. And what you say is just, we're going to try this as an experiment. We're going to look at this idea. We're going to give this a whirl. Now, for something complex like sales and changing the sales, that you can't do that because you have to commit to it to try it. And you have to take it out. You can't just take it out for a spin half-heartedly. It won't work. You have to. When you're working on somebody and actually trying to get somebody else to think differently, or see something differently, you have to be fully committed to it. So it won't work there. In other things, though, in terms of a leadership style, you could take it out for a spin and say, instead of being abusive, or instead of yelling at people or reacting this way, maybe I could be a better listener. And I'll do this as an experiment for a couple days. And your brain will work with you once you get past that little gatekeeper. I
really want to yell at you, but I won't.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, that was the idea. And especially on social media, if somebody's presented an idea, it's a good place to practice, to work on your awareness of your own, that what they're saying does not agree with what you are, and to put it aside and see if you can look at it through their eyes and their perspective. And it can help.
Except the kids who are on there who talk about things that they have absolutely no idea, like politics and history.
Yeah, exactly. And Rona, don't expect me to do this with you, because, of course, I'm right about politics and you're absolutely wrong. So,
yeah. On that note.
No, actually, it's going to work on it. And that was part of the reason I was thinking about this. How can we be on two polar opposites when I think you're smart, and how can you possibly think the way you do?
The same reason why I think you hang out with people, it's like you become the people you surround yourself with. And I look and see who Jeffrey surrounds himself with, and I'm like,
no wonder.
Why?
It makes perfect sense. Wonderful. Anyway, we're having fun with this. And if you can't laugh at yourself, who can?
Exactly.
So.
Well, if you guys have opinions on that, we'd love to hear from you. Just write it in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, hype. I don't even know what other things. Write a bunch of things underneath. It helps the channel, and we're trying to grow it.
We are.
After 5 years.
Well, we're actually well. Now that we've got the content down, we may actually start marketing this thing. We're having great guests, though. We're having a lot of great guests.
We actually did. All right, that is it for us. I'm Rona Lewis.
I'm Jeffrey Hansler.
Don't believe everything you hear. All right, we'll see you later.
Nice
Bye.
tagline. Good job. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Biz-Souls podcast with your hosts Rona Lewis and Jeffrey Hansler. Did you have fun? Subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It's very much appreciated. Talk to you next week.